All right, so we got this right here, and this comes straight from FinTech Futures, North American edition, regards to DLT in 2023 out of the blocks. The key takeaway here basically is that this was written by Gilbert Verdian. I'll try to get to some of the quick gist of how and why this makes sense and why you should care. So if anything, what's coming down the track, as it says, in 2023 when it comes to interplay between DLT and the financial sector, right? There's some key predictions for the year ahead, but what exactly does 2023 have in store for DLT? That's the bottom line, right? Well, it says with the class of FTX and crypto winter that a lot of you guys feel as though that we're still in. Let's be honest about it, right? There's the whole thing of gaining consumer trust and how we protect the people. Power to the people, right? Well, in 2023, the calls for more stringent rules will turn into demands, and that's what everybody's demanding for, key regulation and things that make sense and things that don't make sense. Let's not even try to think about introducing that, right? We got to have regulatory clarity. That's the main key takeaway here. So governments and regulators will realize they can no longer expose consumers to unsupervised exchanges who seemingly had a license to print money and generate steep losses for those who could at least afford it. Or how about this? There has to be, like, we can't be recommending exchanges who there's, for instance, there's no real, I guess you could say, nobody monitoring behind the scenes. And you think about this, like when it comes to the laws of the land, right? For instance, the police, people are saying, well, police need to be, there should be people following what they're doing and so on. Well, they have that already, right? It's basically called internal affairs. So to a sense, hear me out. This is basically stating, is there going to be like an IA, if you will, when it comes to exchanges, you name it, that regulatory clarity? How is that going to be designed? Well, when we get further into this, it states recognizing the need for regulation is one thing, designing, agreeing to it, and implementing is quite another. We can take an example from the EU, European Union, which is acting as leader in the space. Its markets in crypto asset regulation, which is called MiCA bill, serves as a solid example of a comprehensive regulatory framework. Now, the reason why I'm highlighting this specifically when it comes to MiCA is because you're going to see here soon, probably within the next couple months, how they'll basically use this as a template for regulatory compliance. Why should you care about that? Well, you're in crypto. You should care, because otherwise, what are we doing, right? It says, additionally, as the crypto world becomes more staid and sensible, layer 2 technologies that were hastily and poorly designed will start to disappear. Here's the key thing I want to point out also to you guys, and Gilbert Verdian has said this before. There's going to be a few layer 2s that will still be here from it. Which ones are those? I know a few of you guys feel as though you already know which one they are. And this is, again, fuels fire, or puts fuel to the fire of the whole concept that 99% of these things are going to go away. But layer 2s are definitely standing out with that, right? And so if we have done enough of our own research about certain layer 2s, then we already know, hopefully, what we hold and which ones will be going away. There's lots of different use cases when it comes to blockchain. But if anything, I want to get further into this. And of course, I introduced to you why that specific one is going to be used as a template. Getting more further down into this is regards to this whole thing with CBDCs. Now, just, I'm going to spend maybe a couple more minutes into it, and I'll get back into the comments. But here's the thing. We can't predict the future. I'm not fortune teller or anything like that. But look at this. It says, we predict further political grandstanding on this issue, especially in the United States, where libertarian and Republican senators have already spoken out against the introduction of CBDCs. Their position is to stark contrast to the prevalence of CBDCs in China, where the digital yuan has seen transaction volume surpass 14 billion. However, democratic nations will need to compete as the world changes and the CBDCs become part of international trade, financing, and cross-border settlement. So you have, for instance, the use cases, right? You have guys, for instance, they're involved with crypto and introducing why CBDCs are going to be coming here soon. But the key thing is the ones that are specifically attached to what? Providing, like this is backed by gold, or this is backed by I should say backed by, but it has specific technologies that simply make sense to provide use case, whether it's XRP with Ripple's on-demand liquidity and so on. And that's the key factor on this whole fight of back and forth, and why I believe the likes of, for instance, Ripple's XRP will win, or Stellar Lumens, and ones like that. But to have CBDCs that have nothing attached to it, like for instance what you see in China, those don't make sense. So will cooler heads prevail, and we'll get the regulatory compliance that we're looking for? I believe we do. And the reason for it is, for instance, this right here. In 2023, we'll see widespread introduction of some of the cybersecurity principles and safe custody solutions, with regulations catching up. Regulations will catch up. And if anything, I think, again, you have some of the clear, precise, I guess you could say, overall consensus that, look, these have solid real world use case. We need to have cooler heads to prevail and have it attached to real world technologies to get the job done. And the ones that don't make sense will be fizzled out, and the ones that do make sense will obviously leapfrog forward. What does that mean for us as investors for when we came in at dirt cheap prices? It means that much more amazing things should happen. Again, if you've done more of your own research, and of course we help you do that, hence why we're called DYOR, right? Then if anything, just hold the course, know what you hold. Our time will come. All right.